The local history archive has two parts. One is a data collection tool, and the other is an online archive where objects collected with the collection tool can be joined together into one data store. This will introduce the online archive and how to browse it. You can pick a language to log in by choosing English, Chinese, or French, and you can pick a user from the drop-down menu, or you can use guest and the password guest. Once you've logged in, you will see that you can log out, or you can browse the current collections that are in the archive. You can search by keyword, or you can look at the objects that have been given locations on the map. So if you just click browse, you'll just see all the collections that are currently in the archive. The main collection that is in this archive now is the religious statuettes of Hunan. And if you click the collection details, then every individual study that has been entered will be listed. There are 911 studies, and they're shown in a series of pages. For example, go to page 9, we'll jump forward to studies number 600 to 675, and you can click on any particular study. You'll see a brief summary of it here, the title of the study and what it contains, has 2 image files, and you can see details by just clicking Get Study Details. At that point, because I'm not the owner of this study, I cannot edit it, but as a guest I can read it. I can see the study title and some other information about it, as well as the research notes, which in this case gives a lot of the main information about what this study was about. And these studies are all about these talismanic inscriptions and little statues where the inscriptions were stored. Now you'll see down here these thumbnails of the actual digital files that were stored. If you click on them, you'll see the whole image in its original size, and there are two options for each single file that are entered. One is a caption, which here is blank, and another is the location, which in this case is also blank. So we can go back to browse the other studies. For example, I will log out now. I see the author is M. Berman. So if I log in as M. Berman, then I will have permissions for that collection. So I'm now logged in. You can see in the top screen here that I'm logged in as M. Berman, and the author of this collection is M. Berman. So if I click on it, I now have these buttons appearing that allow me to delete them or edit them. So there's actually a lot more information that could be entered about the collection itself, more detailed address and location information, or the host who sponsored you during that field work, and so on. I can cancel and go back to my collection details. There are 3 studies in this collection about Kashgar, and for example, if I looked at the historical photos, then I would see that I had uploaded a set of photos for this particular study. Those are photos by this photographer, William Vandevert, and they appeared in an old Life magazine in 1943. So each of these, you'll see if I mouse over, it says no caption, no caption, no caption. Aha, that one had a caption and no caption. So let's look at the one that actually had a caption, and we'll click on it to go to the details page of that particular photo. Now this is a photo of the Apakoja tomb in Kashgar, and you'll see I've added both a caption and a location. So you'll see in the caption that I actually have both English and Uyghur, and anything that you enter in UTF-8 encoding will work. I could update it by just simply typing something in here, like Apakoja tomb and mosque, and if I update it, and look at it, it will now be stored. So for example, if I moused over it, it would have the changes saved. And because I'm the owner, I have the editorial rights. Similarly, you'll see that I added a location to this map. So let me show you, for example, one of these photos, like this one, does not have a location at the moment, but I could add one by typing in the place name like Kashgar and then hit return, and it will zoom in to a map of Kashgar. I could change it to satellite if I want, and I could begin to zoom in and identify the exact location that I wanted for that photo. Let's just say that it was in the old city. I don't really know for sure. I can also change the label. These cannot be typed in, the latitude and longitude, but I can change the label to Kashgar, and if I wanted to, I could input in Chinese, and I could get the Chinese name in there, enter that, and submit that to the database. So now for this particular photo that I formerly didn't have a location for, I just entered one, and I could delete it if I want, or I could see the location for what I've attributed for this photo. I can add a caption. I don't know what it is. Meeting. Switch back to English. Meeting in a square. Doesn't really matter, just to show you that it works. And now there are two other ways of getting information about this location on a map. One is I could just launch an external Google Map window for the location that I entered, which is just a normal Google Map window, and you can browse around and use it as you would a Google Map. Or you'll see that the application itself has a map tab. So if I click on the map tab, what it will do is actually show me all of the locations that have been entered for the objects in the database. So now it looks like there's one object here, but there's actually more than one. They're just close together. So if I clicked on one, that's the one I had for the meeting, and the other one, if I got close enough, zoom in a little bit, clicked on that one, and that's the one I had for the Apakosia tomb. You'll also see that if I clicked on the entry, it would just take me directly back to that entry. Okay, now let's look at search. If I looked up the word mosque in the search keyword term, then I'll get a list of the records that have that term. So for example, it's in this study title, and it's also in this individual image. So that's basically how the search works. If you search for Uyghur, by the way, you have to copy from the right to the left, the opposite of most scripts. And see, it says it didn't find it. It's too bad. I think I have a blank space at the beginning of it, and now it found it. So you have to be careful not to put in blank spaces, because it'll look for that as well. Okay, so that's searching, and also on the map I should point out that you can right-click on this download KML icon, and you can save the link as a file, which is a KML file, to, for example, your desktop, and save that. And then you can actually open the file that you saved, which I called local history KML right here. You could actually open that file in Google Earth, and all the objects that are that have been given locations in the archive will be seen using the default Google icons, which are a little bit small until you zoom in. And you'll see here, for example, I have one file at this location, or I have 3 files at this location. So if I was to click on this, it would take me back to the local history archive as a guest, because anyone could download that, doesn't know who you are. And then you could proceed to the details page for any of the items at that location. So essentially that's how it works. You can browse, search, get a map. If you're the owner of a particular collection and you've logged in as that with those credentials, you can edit them. And there is a little bit of information under the version link. Opens up a pop-up that will take you to further documentation here, where we'll store the video and installation and other information. So basically that's the rundown of the archive. It will work in Chinese or French in the same way. It'll just change the interface. And that's the brief introduction.